Okay. In theory, we are recording, and this is the August meeting of the Carolina Orchards Americans for Democracy and Equality.
I don't see the little thing that says it's recording.
That's because I'm recording it here and not on Zoom. So it's stealthy. So there's three of us, but I'm recording it for everybody else who can't make it. And I'm Gary Pierce. I'm your president. Let's see. Let's everybody introduce themselves. Jan, who are you?
I'm Jan Rose, and I have been a lifelong Democrat.
Okay. And anything else to differentiate yourself? To distinguish yourself?
Oh, I'm distinguished, all right.
Anyway, we're all here in Carolina Orchards. Shirley?
I'm Shirley Lustick, and I'm very opinionated.
Yes, we know.
And I have been a lifelong Democrat. When my father said to me, "You're going to join the Democratic Party," I said, "Okay, Dad," and that's been it.
And it's felt right ever since.
Yeah.
Okay, and Shelley.
I'm Shelley Friedman, and I'm also a lifelong Democrat.
I may be the only person who may not be a lifelong Democrat because I grew up in the Chicago area, and I was in the suburbs, and Mayor Daley controlled the Democratic Party, and I couldn't be a Mayor Daley Democrat. So, because, it was a machine. So I'm not sure I was a Republican, but probably the first elected official I voted for was Republican. But I saw the light after that, after a while. So
you saw the error of your ways?
Yeah.
Well,
the first senator that I voted for was his name was Chuck Percy, and he was a fairly liberal Republican, or at least a very moderate Republican, something that today is an endangered species.
Well, I think the last one died when John McCain died.
Yeah, I voted for McCain. I really liked McCain. I thought he was a gentleman and that he was a fair person. But I really didn't get into politics until a little bit later on in life. Sorry about that. But
Okay.
He was one person that I did respect.
You voted for him for president?
Yeah. I knew nothing about Obama at the time. And I knew about him and his story. And as I say, I wasn't really into politics at that time. But afterwards, I did get into it, and my life has changed.
Okay, so your revelation happened a little bit. Yeah, your revelation happened a little later than mine did, because mine was back in the 1970s is when I could start voting. And okay, so we've got a few things to talk about here. We have been, before we started the recording, you guys. Many of you had attended the county council meeting.
Yep.
And at the county council meeting, they were talking about this this company called Silfab. They manufacture solar panels, and they are lobbying or proposing to put a manufacturing plant just up the road from us on. Well, I got the map here I can show.
It's just off of Highway 21 across from Food Lion, but it's down a road.
Yeah. So here's where we are over in Carolina Orchards. Picture of my wife, Cindy, showing you where our house is. And it's just over here on the other side of Highway 21. And it's this.
It's up a little further, I think.
No, this is it. This is the building right here. This is the building they're talking about. It's on Logistics Lane. Logistics Lane does not connect to Highway 21. You make a left turn.
No, you have to take Baxter. Or
Baxter doesn't go through. So it's Central Carolina.
Yeah,
Central Carolina Parkway. And the way you recognize that is the little shopping center with the Margarita's restaurant and the DMV.
Oh, yeah.
That corner. And it's just up from the Food Lion. So it's not too far away. So this is the actual building. The building exists. They're not building a building. They'll be taking over an existing building.
Yeah, a building that was built to be a distribution center.
Looks like it because it's got tons and tons of.
It's got about
Little bays for trucks.
Quite a few bays for large trucks.
Yeah. So, I get the impression they're not going to use all that.
Well, they're going to be delivering a lot of stuff. They're going to deliver a lot of chemicals and a lot of other things that if, God forbid, there's an accident, we're dead. They're taking over an old building, which really has to be outfitted to keep fumes inside. There's going to be 2 schools being built on either side, so it'll be a direct pipeline to the children. It's cancer-causing chemicals that they're going to be dealing with. If we had a tornado, which we do get alerts here, that building can fall down. We don't know how sturdy it is. It wasn't built for tornadoes or hurricanes. Once that building comes down, all the chemicals are let loose. There's those little fiberglass something or others that they get in the air.
Silicone fibers.
Yeah, they get into your lungs. There's no precaution being taken. I was told by somebody, and it's not gospel because I didn't hear it myself, but they said that they spoke to Ralph Norman, and he said he thought it was a wonderful idea. And somebody also mentioned it to our wonderful governor, and he said he thought it was a wonderful idea. But you know something? They don't live here, and I don't know. I always think that when something isn't right, there's a lot of money that goes under the table someplace. I don't know who's taking it, and I'm not accusing anybody of taking it, but there's no reason for that kind of an establishment to be in a center of a residential area with 2 elementary schools going on each side.
An elementary and a middle school.
And there's no and they say that it's cancer causing, and you're putting children there. You're putting children there.
I'm going to let you say anything you want, but I am going to ask you to back it up. Because the folks that I was listening to watching the YouTube video from the council meeting, lots of people make accusations. There's cancer causing chemicals. There's all this. There's all these kind of problems.
That's what we were told.
But no. By whom and on what authority?
Well, places that we read about it, that it's cancer causing, and
you read about it, but where?
On the internet.
Okay, that's a dangerous thing.
To back it up, I'm not accusing anybody of taking anything under the table. I'm just saying it just appears in the appearance of it that when you put something in the wrong place at the wrong time, there has to be some kind of a reason.
Yeah,
and the reason usually is financial.
But you don't know.
I don't know.
I'm going to assume that all 3 of you here on our panel are opposed to this plan. Is that true, or is anybody?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to be the odd man out and say that what I'm seeing here is NIMBY, very NIMBY, because I think we all think that solar panels are a great idea. The solar panels that they would be putting in on that they'd be making at this plant are the ones that would go on residential homes. So our houses.
No, our houses would not allow it. The HOA will not allow solar panels coming onto Carolina
houses like ours.
Okay.
Residential, not the big solar farms, not the giant solar farms that you see sometimes when you drive out in the countryside.
Right. It's for PV solar on residences or smaller commercial buildings.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to assume that everybody here thinks that's a good idea.
No, there's no guarantees.
No. Wait a minute. I'm not saying that it's a good idea to put the plant there. I'm saying that it's a good idea to have solar energy. Period. That's a good idea. Everybody agree?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody who thinks so?
So
okay.
I have a question. At the meeting, did they talk about where solar panel it's a manufacturer? It's a manufacturing company. Where they are in other locations? Where are they situated? In other states, in other places? I'm sure it's not the only solar panel.
They have 2 locations in Bellingham and Bellevue, Washington. It's a Canadian company from Ontario, and they have a facility in Ontario.
I get the
And are they built in residential areas in those other locations? Do you know?
I don't know where in Bellingham or Bellevue the facilities are located. I mean, I don't know if those other facilities are in residential areas.
Because I'm thinking that they've got to be somewhere, because solar is, the new way, and it is helpful for our environment. But I'm wondering if, does it matter where it's going to be? I mean, if there's a tornado or a hurricane anywhere, and they have a plant and it goes down or goes up, blows up, chemicals are going to spread no matter where
Regardless.
it is. Regardless.
And they did mention last night about those fibers that you said the name of, Jan. They did mention that last night, that if they get loose, they can get into your lungs and cause problems. Big problems.
They can cause cancer.
Yeah.
She's talking about silicon.
Did anybody discuss that if that stuff is blown up out of the plant by a tornado coming by, how finely distributed that would be, and how much?
No, they just said
no. Nobody talked about that.
Yeah, because that's an important detail.
Yeah.
Inside the plant, if it all gets blown up into the air, that's going to be bad. If it gets blown up out of this plant and
all over the neighborhood
and all over the place, it's going to be diluted incredibly to the point where, do you actually get any in your lungs?
You're not talking about a liquid. We're talking about silicone fibers.
Yeah.
And they, I don't care if there's 10 of them or 100 of them or one.
You can't say that.
Get it in your lungs.
You can't say that because you don't know how bad it is and know what concentration. This is science. And our political opponents don't like science. We need to embrace science.
And they did not say that they were out. They were renovating the building to make sure that it was contained. They used the word, we're going to try our very best, which does not work. There was no guarantees that they were going to make it 100% safe. They're just taking the building. They're doing whatever they're doing. Somebody's working the building now before it was even finalized. They have people working in the building doing fixing or whatever, but nobody ever said that we're making it hurricane safe or tornado safe. They do not have any exit plans. They said last night, there's no exit plans. If there was something wrong, there's no way for evacuation. They mentioned all that last night. It should be in the transcript of whatever they had. We had somebody from Carolina Orchards come on and talk about insurances, how much he worked in companies with insurances.
Yeah, I watched him. I listened to him.
Yeah.
It was all speculation. He was all speculation. He didn't have any facts and figures about the company itself.
Not the company, but it was saying that if you don't have these insurances in place, and you're just flying by, just flying like that, there's no security. These people, and they said, these people can pick up and leave in a moment's notice. They're not paying taxes. If anything goes wrong, you and I are paying the taxes. There's no taxes coming in. Then later on, they said, well, they're going to be giving the government millions of dollars. Where are they getting it from? Our taxes? They're not paying taxes.
No, they're paying millions of dollars in lieu of being taxed. But what part of this agreement is that they have no liability.
If it doesn't work, all they have to do is pack their suitcases.
Once again, when you say that, I need to have it backed up.
Well, when you listen to the YouTube of the meeting, you will hear them talk about the fact that I heard it loud and clear that the company will have no liability.
They're
because
being accused of having no liability, but I did
no,
not
they
hear
are
the other
being
side of the
told they
discussion.
will not have. That's part of the agreement. They will have no liability
For what?
For
for
anything that
any
goes
kind of an
wrong.
accident, anything that goes wrong.
If you get something
In
wrong,
terms of,
you're going to sue the state. You're not going to
let me
sue
finish
them.
speaking.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They have no liability in case of a spill of, and trust me, I come from Silicon Valley. I was in high tech for many years. You don't make that stuff without using dangerous chemicals. The dangerous chemicals may not be part of the end product, but those chemicals are used to make the silicone solar, whatever those little,
Solar power. Solar panel?
well, the solar panels, but also the little round things that actually collect the solar heat. They don't, none of that can be manufactured without the use of dangerous chemicals. I mean, I worked in manufacturing plants. I didn't do the manufacturing, but I certainly walked the floor. I saw how those chemicals were handled and how careful you had to be, and the gloves you had to wear, and all this. It's not as sweet and light as they're trying to portray it.
So were there many people? I'm sorry, I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
And so in the event of a spill of these toxic chemicals or some kind of accident where all this silicone is released into the air, and those are fibers. They're not liquid, and they don't dilute. And you get a silicone fiber in your lungs, and you've got trouble, whether it's 1 or 10 or 100. So, they're not liable according to this agreement, as far as I understood it, the way it's written.
So I need to
so who's going to be liable?
I need to dig that out because I haven't had a chance to watch all of it. The meeting lasted like 5 hours. This wasn't all of the meeting, but this part of the meeting went several hours. Shelley, you were asking a question?
Yes, so let me think about what I was going to ask.
I think you're asking how many people were at the meeting?
That's the trouble with being old. You have to ask the question as soon as you think of it.
Were there many people there that opposed it?
Everybody who came opposed it, except for the people who were the big shots, the one who owned companies or had some kind of connection to the business. They were the only ones for it. There wasn't any regular people for it. Nobody came and said, my kid's going to be in that school next to the plant. I don't care if she gets cancer or not. I want her in that school next to the plant. No parents came from there. There was a woman who was a mother, and she had 1,000 signatures from her development, which wasn't far from there, that said, we do not want them here. And then the big shots came up and said, well, this council is representing these people, but they weren't representing what we wanted. We were all sitting there saying no.
Excuse me. So they didn't give any reassurances that.
Oh, sure they did.
Oh,
sure they did. Because after all the speakers who are against whatever the topic is, whether it was Silfab or getting Highway 255 wide,
257,
250, whatever it was. It doesn't matter what the issue is. The first people to speak are the ones who are against it, and then the last people to speak are the ones who are for it. So the scales are really tipped in favor of the people who are for it, just because they get the last word. There's no opportunity for rebuttal. And so there were, I don't know how many. I mean, I finally, I was so disgusted and I had to go to the bathroom. So I left.
There is an opportunity for rebuttal. It's not that night, but it's at the next meeting.
We'll go to that one then.
How many times do they have to read this? This was the second reading, right. I thought.
Yeah, 3 times.
Oh, 3 times?
After the third reading, they'll make their final vote. It can be voted.
I see.
It can be voted down. It can be voted down. It can be voted down the first time or the second time or the third time. If it's voted down, it's done. If it's voted up, which it was the first time and second time, then it moves on to the third time. And that's when the final vote would take place.
We were
if
told at a meeting at one of the ladies' houses here, one of the council people was there, and she said that they had 3 people on their side, meaning, not to do this. And the 4th one was starting to get some kind of threatening phone calls. And therefore she was afraid to vote, the way she really wanted to. So that's why I said this is not legitimate what's going on. There was no people. There were just people who were connected to other companies. And they were saying, trust me. I don't know you. Why would I trust you? I mean, there was nothing to back up except there were.
Okay, I understand.
Okay. So could our community, whether it's just not just Carolina Orchards, but to reach out to other communities? Can we get together and, not just petition it, but maybe get a lawyer to fight it for us? I mean, I don't think individuals can fight this. I don't think
there were people there from Regent Park. Is that it?
Yeah, Regent Park, and then there was a couple of other communities.
There were people from Springfield. There were people from the areas around where this is going. I mean, there was a lot of people there that were against it. There were a lot of people there that were there for other issues as well. But there was quite a number of people who were there to show their disapproval,
opposition,
and But the thing is, the people that spoke for it, one was a representative of Silfab.
There were several Silfab people that spoke.
Yeah, there was an owner, and then there were people
and they were all defend. Well, what? I don't care how many people from Silfab come and tell me how safe it is.
The Chamber of Commerce president was there. He was in favor of it. Yeah.
Where does he live? He doesn't live here.
Well, he lives in York County, someplace, Rock Hill.
There was nobody there from all the people who spoke. They were saying how they were in Rock Hill, and something about Rock Hill, but nobody lives in Fort Mill who was for it. They were all people far away.
From somewhere else.
That's what I'm trying to say. As a community within, all the different communities, to get together and do something, because just talking about it, that you don't want it there, is not going to convince them to overturn this. We have to do something else to prove that it is a health hazard and should not be in a community like ours.
It's not only a health hazard, it's traffic. They said, because there'll be a lot of trucks in and out. That's increased traffic in that area.
What else did they say about that? Did they say
Highway 21 is a mess.
Did they say how many trucks?
Oh, wait a second.
They did not discuss how many trucks. But
I thought I heard it would be a dozen or two per day. And I also heard them say...
that's a lot. That's a lot to add to that, to impact the traffic there. And they said, they did a traffic study, and it's not going to impact traffic at all. Excuse me, when did they do that? At 3 a.m. when there's nobody there?
But I think as a community, we need someone to do the research and to prove that all the reasons why it shouldn't be there. And because ourselves, I don't think we're going to accomplish anything.
Shelley, I went on, our Facebook page on Facebook. I went on yesterday. You go read what I said. I told people, I said, listen, you have to come out there and you have to fight. I said, don't complain when you start getting cancer and your property values go down.
You can't say people are going to get cancer. You just can't go out and say that because you don't know. That's a scare tactic.
We need someone to privately find out if it is actually a health problem, or, if it exploded or something happened, or is it a problem with traffic? Is there going to be more pollution? And I don't think by just saying that you think this is going to happen is the solution to make this, not go through. I think it needs to be investigated, but we can't do that on our own. We have to get attorneys and people involved that can.
You can do it fast because you've got a month.
That's
Well,
all.
they don't, I don't see where you're gonna, it was hard enough for Allison to get signatures. You think they're gonna open up their pocketbook and give you $1? Everybody stands back and says, oh, let the next guy do it. But so you're not going to get that. I don't have faith in this community as you do. I see everybody stands back. I said on Facebook yesterday, you at least have to come to the meeting. We have to, and Allison was begging everyone also, get us a couple of cars to get down there. So Jan and I went late, but we went and we were stuck upstairs. But there were people that came with communities with petitions and stuff, and we came with stuff. But
they let everybody talk who wanted to talk, right? This is not the public comment time when they limit it to 15 people. Everybody who wanted to say something got to talk for as long as they wanted to talk. Everybody. They
had 2 minute. They had 2 minute limitations.
No. They do that during the public comment part. But when they're discussing a proposed piece of legislation like that, it's unlimited. Talk as long as you want and as many people. That's why the meeting went for 5 hours.
You mean to tell me they had more speakers that came and spoke?
That first guy that talked, he talked for like 20 minutes.
I know. And I asked him about that, and he said it was because it was not the public comment time. They called it something else.
But they
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is that our hands are tied and that we can't do anything because we only have it's going to be over. It's going to go through in a month and we can't do anything. There's no way of getting an attorney or someone to investigate.
I don't know. There's a new senior community going up on Gold Hill, right behind the plant. I don't even know if they know about it because they've been having dinners to invite you to come see it and buy it.
Not even open yet.
And they didn't show up there. They were not there saying, well, they didn't do, because usually they would do research to say, you're going to put elderly people right behind the plant. They didn't show up to say we're a business here and it's going to cause a problem. So I don't know who knows and who doesn't know. It's hit and miss.
So first of all, we have somebody new who's just come on. So Olin, say hi.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us here on the Zoom. As you can tell, it's hot and heavy, all about the Silfab plant. Everything I'm hearing is the doom and gloom of what happens if something goes wrong. I haven't heard anybody talk about when things go right.
Something, maybe it's a 50-50 chance, but it isn't. If something goes right, then everything is rosy and everything is good. But if you don't plan for a disaster, there will be a disaster. Everything happens. You're not going to have a perfect, everything perfect. There's going to be spills all over the place. It's just nature. They're going to have unprofessional, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-professional workers working at the plant. They're going to be paying them. First, we heard $14 an hour. Then we heard $19 an hour. Last night, if you're a full-time worker, and how many full-time workers are they going to have, is going to be $32. And they kept talking about the 800 families, because of the jobs that will come in here, will be 800 families will make money. But we don't know who's working part-time, who's not. There's going to be 3 shifts, and they're not going to be professionals. They're going to come in. So you're going to have three shifts of 800 people who are not professionals, who've never handled this stuff before.
Why are you saying that? What have you got to back up saying that?
Unskilled workers. They said they're bringing in unskilled workers.
Okay, I got to go look for that because I didn't hear that from anybody else. But again, I haven't heard everything.
They had it last night on the thing. They're bringing in unskilled workers. They'll pay up to $32 an hour. There's going to be 3 shifts of workers coming in. We don't know who they are that coming into the neighborhood, but it doesn't matter. They're coming into work, and then and they don't know what, and they're going to be trained. This is a highly skilled thing, and you're dealing with material that I guess if you know what the name of the material is, you can look it up online, and it'll tell you whether it has bad side effects or not. I mean, that's easy enough to look up. But they're having unskilled workers come in, the majority of them. The skilled workers will get more money. I don't know what, but they were talking about up to $32 last night, but it jumped up from 14 to 32. When the counselor went to Allison's house, she was saying $19. Now, last night on the video, it's going to say that we're talking about $32, and none of these people live near here. It's Canada. Put it up in the woods in Canada. I mean,
you're muted, Shelley. Shelley, you're muted.
You got to find the button.
Okay. I don't see how this discussion is helpful because it seems like everyone who's here is opposed to it.
Except me.
Except you?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I'm on the fence, but in general, I think it's a good idea.
I mean, I think solar panels are a good idea. I have no idea what's going to happen if there's a catastrophe. Yeah. But we, I don't see how just saying that we're not for it, how that's going to help anything. And it sounds like it was approved. Was it approved?
It was approved to continue to the next council meeting next month.
Okay.
It was carried on. It was the second vote. Now in the first vote, was 5-3 in favor of it. The second vote was 4. The first vote was 5-2. The second vote was 4-3. So they lost somebody. I'm not sure which council person that they lost, but it was getting tighter, and so we'll see what happens at the next meeting.
When is the next meeting?
End of September.
So maybe our job right now would be to just really get more people to, but what will more people do? That's what I don't understand. If more people show up, are you a voter? I mean, when you're at that meeting, are you voting?
No.
No, only the council votes.
Yeah, so then maybe
you pushed your mute button.
Maybe we need to talk to our council people in between.
Yeah, your council person is voted against it.
No, Debbie voted for it. I mean, against it, right?
Yeah, Debbie Cloninger is our council representative, and she voted against it. She also invoked the.
Shelley, you're still muted.
Yeah, I'm talking to my husband who's talking in the background. I told him to show up on the screen.
Yeah, if he wants to be in this meeting, he's got to get on the screen.
That's right. That's what I told him. He's making dinner.
Yep. Debbie also invoked the fires in Maui as a explanation for. Well, she said no one was prepared and knew what might happen on the fires in Maui, indicating to me like she hasn't been paying attention to what's been going on in Maui, because people have been complaining and warning about what's going on in Maui for years. But that gives me an indication of what Debbie Cloninger is all about.
Why are you for it? There's no security here. They said last night there's no guarantees for anybody because you can't guarantee that there's not going to be an accident. They said that.
And if you want a company to come in and guarantee that there's never going to be an accident and never going to be a problem, if they're being honest with you, they'll say, no, I can't guarantee that.
Fine. So what are you going to do when there is an accident if you can't guarantee it? How is it going to be paid for? The Fort Mills taxes are going to go up because we're going to be the ones that are liable. Our area is going to be the ones that are liable because they're going to, saying they're going to.
You've said that many, many times, and I can't argue with you because I haven't seen the whole meeting, and I don't know about this liability. Well,
they said the people got up and said it. The people who are running this, who it's their plans. They said we're taking all the precautions that we can, but there's never you can't guarantee. So if there's an accident,
you can't guarantee when you back out of your driveway that you're not going to run over somebody.
That's right.
So you're never going to back out of your driveway again.
Backwards. but you're not going to hurt somebody else. You're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to hurt all the people around you if there's a big accident.
You're taking this idea of they can't guarantee it, and you're blowing it up to something that it's not.
They said they cannot guarantee.
Yes, of course they said they can't guarantee it because they can't.
Right. So then what are we?
So just like you can't guarantee that when you back out of your driveway, you're not going to run over somebody.
Absolutely.
You can't guarantee that. But
if I back out of my driveway and I hit a tree, I'm hitting a tree. I am not putting. I'm talking about you.
I'm talking about I'm walking down the sidewalk and you hit me. And you're
that's one person. But these are thousands of people in the area that you are putting in jeopardy. You are putting people in jeopardy because you're in an environment where if there were to be a spill, because you have to consider that there possibly more so than not be a spill of something, and it is dangerous to everybody.
I don't think you can say that. Area. I don't think you can say more so than not.
I think you can.
I don't think
if you spill something on the floor, the plumber came to my house and he got water all over my garage. So a couple of months later. So there's no guarantee that I wouldn't get mold, but I had to take precautions. I had to call somebody about a month or two later to make sure there was no mold in my garage. Yeah. But I said to myself, I can take the precaution. I know what I'm going to do. I have a plan. I'm going to call the mold inspector.
You don't think they got a plan?
No, they said they don't have any
because they run plants they run several other plants and they've done it for a couple of decades.
They did not present us when we asked them, do you have any plans? They did not present us. Well, we have plans, and here are the plans, A, B, C, and D. They did not come forward and say that.
Yeah, Shelley, go ahead.
So, who is the who was the person who said that she was against it?
Debbie, whatever her last name, I have it written down.
She was not against
it. Oh,
yes, she is against it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Our council representative.
So maybe invite her to come to our group and talk to us and find out if there's any way that we can band together and fight this. Because you and everyone who's not in favor of it, arguing back and forth is not going to change the outcome. So,
Shelley, she did. Allison had her at her house, and she invited all the people in the community, and as many of us that showed up at Allison's house, she spoke to all of us, and she said, what you all have to do is you have to do petitions, you have to come down to the council meeting, and you have to protest. So we did petitions, and we did come down to the meeting, as many of us who decided that they would be willing to go. And that's what so you're going to bring her again, and she's going to give you the same thing that she told us to do there. That was the first big meeting.
Yeah. So what do you want? You want to guarantee that you're going to win?
No, I want to I want to see. They're not giving us. They're not presenting what insurance is. They're telling us that they're taking 1.25 million gallons.
So what do you do? You've got 3 council representatives who voted for it. It was Bump Roddy, Watts Huckabee, and I think Tommy Atkins was
there were 4. There were 4 because 3 of them.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who the 4th one was because let's do a voice vote on it. I'd have to.
So can we go talk to those people who are for it and
you can write an email that will go to every council member.
I don't think an email is effective. I think a face-to-face is effective.
Well, they're not getting.
Then you got to make an appointment with. You got to get a hold of them and make an appointment to go see them.
Because they're.
But again, if we don't have all the background information about the health risk, about all the things that we're fearful of, if we don't have that information, we can't, what are we presenting to anybody? Just that we're afraid that it's going to be harmful. And they'll tell us, it's not going to be harmful.
But they're not presenting us information saying this is why it's not going to be dangerous to you. They should be they should be giving us that information saying, well, we're going to put your fears in line. This is all,
Okay, but telling us that is not going to change it. So what I'm trying to get at is, how can we as a community do something to make the change, to prove to them that there is a possibility that there's a health risk?
Well, you got to get people to donate money, to hire what you said, a good lawyer, to put an injunction out to stop it temporarily. Right. Yes, it takes money. And unless we have money to back it up, you can't go talk to a lawyer, because nobody's going to do this pro bono.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we'd have to find an environmental lawyer. We'd have to do that.
You also need a communication medium to be able to talk to people who agree with you. And most people, when you're talking about things like that, they're like this. Oh, don't.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't.
Nobody wants to get involved.
Yeah. So you need a communications medium to put together all the people that would be on your side for this. And when they came around to my house with the petitions, and I looked over at what they were saying, and I said, you got nothing but speculation here.
I signed it because, if there's a possibility of any possibility, I don't want it. If it's a possibility.
Yeah.
There's always a possibility.
Now you all have experienced the concept of NIMBY before, right? We all know what that is. Not in my backyard.
In my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a NIMBY situation? Is this I think it would be great if they put it in TGK, but not here in Fort Mill.
I don't think it should be in anywhere near residential areas or schools. There's enough open space in this state that they can place this company somewhere where, if God forbid they had an accident or an explosion, such as that home in Ballantyne that exploded last year, and the one that just today on the news, there was a young man who grew up here who's on the Tennessee Titans football team. He bought, because he got so much money, he bought his father a house. I think it's near Mooresville. And the house exploded.
And
just last night. And
I'm not sure I understand the point.
His father was killed, and miraculously, one of his friends was there and managed to get out. And and they're thinking it's a gas pipe leak. But
there's also, a couple of years ago, if you remember, there was an earthquake in North Carolina that I heard, and I was walking on a street on 74th Street and 5th Avenue in Manhattan, and I felt the tremor. And when I called my son-in-law, he said the dishes fell off the house. He's in North Carolina, right across the border. So we're on some kind of fault also. So there could be an earthquake that upset the whole thing, and you have an accident.
We're not that far from the airport. A plane
First of all, I was in the middle of talking, and I'd like to finish what I was saying. Those things happened. Nobody knew about it. Nobody caused it. But those things happen. So if this plant is in the middle of a residential area and an accident like that happens, and all the materials and chemicals get splattered all over the place, if it's not near homes and schools, the only real victim is the company whose building blew up. But if it's in the middle of residential and school area, there's a lot more damage that can be caused. Now, I'm not saying I expect the building to blow up, but buildings blow up.
Buildings blow up?
Just had one last night.
A house with a gas leak.
That was a house. But they're going to have gas service too.
And it's an old building.
I don't think it's an old building. It's a fairly new building.
It's not an old building, but it was built to be a distribution center. I don't know what they thought they were going to do with all those trucks.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't believe, and this is true. Well, I told you I come from Silicon Valley. There were some high-tech companies in South San Jose, light manufacturing, but there's nothing high-tech that isn't manufactured using toxic chemicals. And as careful as they were, the chemicals still got into the ground and the groundwater. And they had cancer clusters all around. And they finally, the local authorities finally got those buildings shut down, demolished, and had the cleanup of the century to clean all that up. And the companies had to move their facilities to a place where it wasn't in the middle of residential and schools. And I lived through that. So, those things happen. I have never believed that you should have industrial or light manufacturing or heavy manufacturing, for that matter, right adjacent to residences and schools.
So how are we going to convince the people who are voting that they shouldn't put it there? I mean, we can't just keep going around in circles because
I know.
There was another thing that they said last night, that they were going to give us that they don't own the building, they lease the building. They can get out of a lease at any given time. They're going
they
to
can't.
wait. That's what they said. Don't tell me what they can't. I'm telling you what they said. So the thing is this. They're supposed to give us $250 million over an 8-year period. And if it doesn't work, they're not giving it to us. In the meantime, there will be no taxes taken care of. They've got to fix 21 to make it useful for them to ride these high-end trucks. Who's paying for those roads? You and I. Our taxes will go up. They have to. Any improvements in the area to facilitate this thing is going to be paid by Fort Mill people. It's not going to be paid by Tika K. It's not going to be paid by anybody Rock Hill.
Fort Mill does not pay for improvements on a U.S. highway.
Okay.
It's going to be
again. I don't think that this is solving anything.
Well, you're
personally.
right.
So what I'm thinking now is this council person who is against it. So maybe maybe to collaborate with her to either convince other council people or to find someone who specializes in the environment that can present the case, because just talking about this like this is not going to solve anything.
Yeah, we're not making any headway.
No,
here.
and I'm going to have to go. So I don't know if it'll change anything, but I think that she is a person to collaborate with. What can we do as a community? Doing it by ourselves and complaining, it just makes me more anxious, to tell you the truth, because
as Democrats
do happen.
As Democrats in South Carolina, I think we all realize we don't get our way very much.
No,
there's no guarantees that we're going to get our way.
No,
but there are people there. There were people there that are Republicans as well. Allison is a staunch Republican.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be a particularly political.
No, this is not political. This is where we live. This is where there are children.
So that's my suggestion, to reach out to the council person who's not in favor of having it, and to collaborate with her and brainstorm with her. What can we do as a community? Because alone, I don't think we're going to be able to do it.
No, we can't. We already found that out last night. Yeah. Debbie Cloninger, is that her name? CLON?
Yeah, you should just go to the York County website, York County Council website, and look at who your representatives are. We are in District 7, the highest number district, and you'll find out contact information for her.
Okay, fine.
Yep. All right, so I agree.
Okay.
We've aired the discussion pretty well, and for us and for anybody else who's going to watch on our YouTube. A couple other things that I have on the agenda. Did you all pay attention? Yes.
Before we finish, I was just, Lynn, do you have any comments about this discussion?
No, I'm just trying to get a little bit of history and background because I didn't attend the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to attempt to probably tomorrow make a video of edit the several hours worth of comments down to something a little shorter, and so everybody can see what comments were made on both sides. It's a pretty monumental job to take that much.
Yeah.
That much time.
Can I
and
access
distill it, but I'll try.
Can I access the YouTube recording?
Oh yeah, it's once again it's York County government, and they have a YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and type in York County, South Carolina Council, and you'll get to their YouTube channel. And all the council meetings are broadcast live on YouTube, and then they sit there afterwards for you to review them later on.
Yeah.
It's as everybody knows who has sat through a government meeting where they're talking about 98% of the things we don't care about. They're pretty mind-numbingly tedious.
I know. They got a little excitement last night.
A little bit, yep. But speaking of which, did you all pay attention to the county council over the past couple months when they were talking about the libraries?
Yes.
Is this
I'm
new,
not sure that probably wasn't on the agenda last night.
No, they're done
What
with
was it?
They're done.
I didn't hear that one.
The libraries
Yeah, what about it?
and taking books out of the children's section and putting them in the adult section
Oh, no.
because they might say gay or lesbian.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah, I mean, that was another big fight. And in this case, the county council doesn't micromanage the libraries. So Tom Audette, who is a representative councilman from the western part of the county, kept bringing to the council his complaints, which he says came from his constituents, but really got imported from just the general culture wars, Republican culture wars. He was complaining that there were books in the library that dealt with sexual orientation, gender issues, and he thought that was going to ruin our next generation of children. So, that's what his problem was. So, once again, the county council doesn't micromanage the library. So the library board issued a statement earlier this summer that said, we're not going to move the books. So what the county council did was try to reconfigure the library board. The library board had 7 members from districts. The districts overlaid the county council districts. And then 3 at-large members. Well, they got rid of the 3 at-large members right off the bat. And then they announced that because they had done some redistricting earlier, 2 of the library board members were no longer living in the district that they were elected to. And instead of letting them serve out their term, they booted them off right away. So they're basically trying to change the library board to install people who will be more compliant with what the conservatives on the county council want. That hasn't happened yet. It's one of those things we'll just have to watch and see how long it takes. But it was similar to the group that you guys saw last night with overflow, folks showing up on both sides. The difference was that this was never something that was actually up for a specific legislation, ordinance, that could be talked about at length. The only people who could talk about it were the 15 people who signed up and got 2 minutes apiece. So
They want to kill this country.
They don't want to kill it. They just want to run it.
They want to have things their way. And
well, you know something, maybe we should go Democratic states and Republican states and two presidents and something like that, because it's everybody is trying to impose their personal beliefs on somebody else, and it's not going to work. I mean, they're trying very hard.
I think for the most part, we are not trying to impose our beliefs on other people. We are trying to make it so that people can choose for themselves.
I didn't say us. I said them.
Oh yeah. Yep. Anyway, so that's just something to be aware of. There's a group that has formed, a very activist group called CAPE, Community Advocates for Public Education.
Right.
They are nonpartisan in that they're not trying to support one political party or another, but their value system is pretty progressive, and that's a group mostly of women that have become pretty active in the community. If you're interested in that kind of activism, they've got a website. They got two. They've got Facebook groups. They've got a public Facebook page and they've got a private Facebook group. It's easy to join the private Facebook group. Just find CAPE and ask to join. And they'll send their team of investigators to your house to make sure you're not a closet Republican. No, Republicans are okay. Republicans are okay because they're nonpartisan.
They're not interested in your political affiliation. They're interested in public education, and if you are, then good.
Yep. And I don't know, you guys have been following the YouTube programs that I've been producing for the county party, but that's a big part of what was being covered on that. So if you haven't watched, they're fascinating programs. So it's YouTube channel is youtube.com/ got to do the little @ YCDP TV, York County Democratic Party TV. youtube.com / @ YCDP TV.
Can you put it in the chat?
What channels are going to have the debate tomorrow night, please?
Fox News.
That's it?
Yeah.
CNN's not going to carry it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I got to tape it then.
But MSN.
Gary, would you put that YouTube channel in the chat, please?
Yeah, let me see if I can get over there. It's going to come up on everybody's screen for a second.
It's on the Facebook Democratic York County, isn't it? You post stuff there all the time.
Okay, then I'll just look on the face. Oh, all right, thanks.
Okay, yep. It's easy to find. And then lately I've been putting up, I put up a series of shorts, 1 minute little things that I got from the York County GOP, York County Republicans. Apparently after we started as York County Democratic Party, YCDP, started putting up stuff on a YouTube channel, the Republicans said, oh, that's a good idea. And they started doing that. Now they have a monthly meeting. The York County Democratic Party does not have a monthly meeting, but the GOP does. And they've been putting their monthly meeting on YouTube. I'm not sure if they do it live or if they play it back later. But in any case, if you want to see what the Republicans are doing, the interesting thing is that all the stuff that you would think that they would just be whispering and not saying out loud, they put it on YouTube. They're out there, happy to show you just exactly who they are on YouTube. And so I grabbed a bunch of it from their first meeting that they put on YouTube and made funny little memes about it. So go look at that and enjoy. They're a total of 5 minutes worth, although you probably have to play them back several times to get it because it goes by real fast. One of the things that I noticed from watching their meeting, and you can watch their whole meetings too, but they're public on YouTube, at least for now, until they realize that we're watching and we're making fun of them. And then they'll probably make it private. One of the things that I noticed, and I don't think this has been a big secret, but I don't think we've talked about it very much, is that York County GOP is a no rhino zone. You know what a rhino is?
No.
Republican.
I mean, I know what a rhino is, but I don't know what it means in this.
Republican in name only.
Mhm.
In other words, a moderate Republican. The Trump wing has wanted to kick out the moderates for some time now. And this has been going on since before Trump. When I was making commercials for Republicans up in Raleigh, back in the early 2000s, the producers I was working with said, well, he makes commercials for rhino Democrats or rhino Republicans, moderate Republicans up in the Wake County area, which is probably the only reason I could stand working on those commercials. But they paid me good. So that's where I became familiar with the term. It's not brand new, but the idea is that York County is a very conservative brand of Republican. Our neighbors in Lancaster County are a very conservative brand. Greenville County is a very conservative brand. They tried to take over the Horry County. I'm not pronouncing that right. Horry County, I think. And the moderate Republicans, at least so far, have beat the MAGA Republicans in Horry County. And it's also something that's going on in our state legislature. The fight between what they're calling themselves the Freedom Caucus. And what's going on in Congress as well. The Freedom Caucus, the very conservative Republicans versus the more moderate Republicans. Well, here in York County, they've pretty much taken over. If you're a moderate Republican, you're no longer welcome in the Republican Party, which means we as Democrats need to figure out how to make Democrats out of them.
Yeah.
Well, last night, remember that prayer that they put up, Jan?
Yeah. Yeah, we got to pray in Jesus' name last night, which I thought was illegal.
You'd have to go find that lawyer and do a lawsuit.
At this point, that is the least of my worries.
Yeah. I mean, we thought that there was a separation from church and state, and in many rural areas and in the South, that's not the case unless you fight for it.
That's right. But I wasn't going to make a scene last night. That's for sure.
Yeah, I decided first of all that I obviously wasn't going to participate in the prayer because I'm an atheist. But I also there were a few of us that when we were at the county council meeting last month, that when they did the Pledge of Allegiance, we stayed seated because I don't do that either.
You don't pledge allegiance to the flag?
No, I like living in this country, but I don't believe in rote ritual allegiance pledging, especially with the under God in the middle of it.
I remember when the under God was added.
Yeah,
that's how old I am.
50s, I think, sometime.
Yeah.
So, and a few other people stayed seated as well, which sort of felt good about. It's the totalitarian countries that have everybody line up and pledge their allegiance to whatever it is that is going on. And why we think that we need to do that in a free country like America, I have no idea. But
probably because we've always done it.
It's really not a free country. There's too many restrictions. All of a sudden, we're getting a lot of restrictions that we thought were free after 50 years, and they all of a sudden not kept free again.
So Shirley just became a libertarian.
Body is not yours, huh?
Shirley just became a libertarian.
No, the country is falling apart, and that's the truth of it. Everybody is trying to get it to be on their side. Everything is a Christian country. Forget about all the other religions and everything in here. It's supposed to be a non-sectarian country. Yeah. That's what we are. non-sectarian. It's not Christian, it's not Muslim, it's not Jewish, it's not anything. It is a country that believes in freedom and laws. Has nothing to do with anybody's particular God or anything else. It's a free country. And that's why they came here. They forgot that they wanted the freedom of religion and the freedom of whatever, but they only wanted freedom of religion for themselves.
Yes, very much a freedom to be the way I want everybody to be.
Right.
Mhm.
You know,
Still going on.
So you're right in that. I mean, well, if you get a country, if you get a country where the overwhelming majority of people are Christian, the country is going to end up being pretty Christian, and they'll try to put their iconography, their values, their symbolism, and
their language.
Yeah, right, all
Their God language.
into government, and it's been going on, since the beginning of the country, and occasionally we fight back and we will win a few skirmishes and battles. But, if you noticed at the county council staring you in the face above the county council meetings, above the county council seats, that big "In God We Trust."
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least they don't mention which gods that you trust. Otherwise, they have to take the whole wall.
Yeah, but for those of us who have no God, that's still offensive.
Yes, it is. It should be just, we trust in the laws of the Constitution of the United States of America. That's what this country is built on.
Okay. So one more,
not a God.
One more thing on my agenda. Not that this isn't a lot of fun. We are in election season. Did you know that?
Yeah, sort of.
Yep.
Who are we voting for?
Well, at the moment, you don't have any choice. This is the Fort Mill mayor and city council elections. And let's see, I've got the candidate list here.
Well, I don't want to vote for any of the people that are on the council now that are voting for this. I'd like to know their names so not to be able to vote for them.
All right. Well, the county council is not up for election. The city council is.
This is our town council, not the county.
So we got the mayor of Fort Mill is up for election, and then an at-large position of the county council, or the town council rather, and then Ward 2 and Ward 4. And we are not in either of those wards. And if we look at the names, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, Savage, Gwynn Savage, maybe, as mayor, Lisa Cook, Ronnie Helms, and Chris Moody, and we'll go over and see who's actually in the council. Well, look, it's Gwynn Savage, Ronnie Helms, Chris Moody, and Lisa Cook. Only the incumbents are running. There's no one running against them. These are the current candidates that'll be on the ballot. The other people can declare their candidacy, and it's open until the filing deadline for mayor, town council of Fort Mill goes until September 8th. So between now and September 8th, other people can file to run in those.
I thought Gwen was termed out.
Apparently not. Because
does she have to be reelected because nobody else wants to run?
Well, nobody else is running, so I don't know. But no, she had to file to have her name on the ballot.
Yeah, I know.
This is what I'm looking at is SC votes. So.
Well, I know she termed out because we had a conversation about it.
I'm not familiar with the term limits for Fort Mill mayor. I can do a quick Google search and see if it tells me anything.
Well, it doesn't matter. Nobody else wants to run. That's the problem.
I can't spell mayor.
Well, I'll tell you something. If Trump gets in again, there's going to be more than a 2-term limit on presidency. He's going to change that law.
He might try.
according to some legal eagles, Federalists included, he's not eligible to run.
Yes, recite, please. Hi,
Hi, Denise.
Great movie.
Hi, I just saw the text.
Well, better late than never.
That's been my philosophy my whole life.
In this 2017 biopic, Gary Oldman says, "You cannot."
So is Gary here?
Who?
Gary.
I'm Gary.
Gary's here.
Yeah.
Hi, Gary. Oh,
So I'm looking at the very extensive.
1814 and 1850.
Okay, yeah, if somebody's got a TV going on in the background, you might want to turn that off.
sorry.
Right.
You,
1783,
where's
the
the
Treaty of Paris ends this war. Matt, what's the American Revolution?
I
You
don't
got
know,
it.
just-
Paris 2000. Yes.
So I'm looking at this page, which I'm not sure if this is what governs what's going on. The South Carolina legislature, municipal elections, and I typed in term limits, and it doesn't show.
I'm happy to have her mayor again.
Yeah, I'd have to dig into this
I like her.
a whole lot deeper. There's a lot of stuff in here. I have to spend more time on it. The interesting thing to note is that even though our ward representative is not running, all of the wards in Fort Mill are at large in terms of voting. So there's 2 wards that are open for, 2 wards and the at-large, seat. But we get to vote, even though we're not in Ward 2 and we're not in Ward 4, we will get to vote for the town council representative in Ward 2 and the town council representative in Ward 4, as well as the at-large and the mayor.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, that's a holdover from Jim Crow when Fort Mill decided they did not want to have a minority representative on the town council. So there's one neighborhood or one ward that is majority minority or close to it. And they could elect someone from their community as town council. But not if everybody in town gets to vote for that ward, and everybody does. So they're not going to change that. So
When are the elections?
Well, how do they get a representative that lives in their ward?
I mean, I'm not sure if you have to live in the ward that you're representing. Yeah, probably you do. So they would need to find somebody. Whoever's going to run is going to have to be from that ward. But if they're a minority in a redneck town like Fort Mill, they're not going to get elected.
Sure.
So that's what's going on. Okay, and I believe that's all I got. Does anybody else have anything that they want to yak about?
When are the elections?
November. Not sure what the date is. November 3rd or 7th or something like that.
It's like the first Tuesday in November.
Yeah, first Tuesday in November.
If there's nobody from our district, where are they going to hold the elections?
Well,
If nobody is supposed to be voting from our district,
he
where do you
didn't say
hold
that.
No, that's not what he
No,
said.
we all vote. We all vote for
get to
everybody.
vote for all the wards.
Yeah.
And of course, we get to vote for mayor.
Yep. And
Okay.
there probably will be early voting, and it probably will be down in Fort Mill, and then on election day it'll be at the fire station.
Okay, we can get the write-in ballots?
I don't know. Well, I don't know about write-in. Maybe.
Who you can write in? And
Yeah.
for
No, you
what?
know what I'm
You-
saying.
you don't need
the
to- you-
ballots that we mail, the mailing
Oh,
ballots.
mailing.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no. Absentee ballots.
Yeah, absentee. Yeah, there'll probably be those available.
But you have to ask for it.
Yeah, so who do we call? The voting
The
registration
board-
people?
You'd register our voters.
Yeah, Board of Elections.
All right.
The
Did
same,
that for the other stuff, I'll do it for this. I don't like to go to those places.
I think you get to, because we're all old enough. They got something about
Oh,
you have
yeah.
to- being over 65 to be able to vote absentee in South Carolina.
With no questions asked if you're that old.
I'm going to lie about my age.
Tell them you're 15.
Yeah.
25, it's okay.
All right. Anybody else got something that they want to bring up? Okay. I apologize for not having a meeting last month, and I guess sort of in post declaration, we just took the summer off. Except, well, here we are in August, so appreciate you guys coming along.
Took July off.
Yeah, July and June. And the conservatives are taking the whole summer off. Our Republican group. So.
Bless their hearts.
Yes, that's true.
Yep. So the folks from Cape want to send somebody to come and talk to us, but they weren't. They're all mothers, and this is the first week of school, so nobody was available this week. I'm actually going to be out of town the weeks of the September and October meetings on vacations that my wife has planned to drag me out of town. I can set up the Zoom. Anybody can pop up here and show up on Zoom. Haven't seen Niall in a while. I need to check with her and see if she wants to run the meeting. So we can still have our meetings, and we can bring the representative from Cape in to talk to us.
How many Democrats do you have here in Carolina Orchards?
There's 77 on our mailing list.
But nobody shows up
Well,
outside of us.
but I'm pleading. I didn't know. I just now looked at text messages and picked it up.
Yeah, I mean, I put the message out at like 2:00 this afternoon. I'm surprised there's anybody here.
Okay. I feel better now.
Yep, I should have done it a couple of days ago, and I've been slacking getting the community newsletter information updated as well.
Isn't there a way that we could get, as a club, we can get to use one of the rooms? Maybe we could have a coffee and cake thing to invite the Democrats to, to get together and regroup. Maybe they'll, if we put it in the monthly thing that we're having a gathering and at this time, and to see who really is interested, because they can be registered if they don't show up, but they might as well not be registered. If they're not going to be partaking, the Republicans all show up. But
what's most important is a vote.
But you got to get them to work with us a little bit. It's got to be like people our age. If you feed them, they come. But make a potluck Democratic Party.
Yep,
or something.
I'm happy to support.
Well, we can't call it Democrat. We can only call it what we call it.
Yep, Americans for Democracy and Equality. I'm happy to support
that too.
I'm happy to support things like that. You're not going to get me to run them because I can barely keep things going as it is. But if somebody else wants to do it,
well, and a lot of people are afraid to let their neighbors know that they are Democrats or that they're liberal, because they don't want to deal with the fallout from that.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't blame them.
no,
yeah, I had this.
I don't either.
I had this discussion with John Krailovich at the York County Democratic Party. What do we call that? The Zoom meeting that we have.
Okay.
And everybody's invited, by the way. You'll see the announcement of it on the Facebook group, and if you get the Monday memo, you'll see that you're invited to come to those meetings. There are.
Are you talking about drinking liberally?
No, this is the official party activity. It's about four
all right.
times a year. 4 times a year. I think they call it the executive committee or something like that. Which being
Okay.
when they call it the executive committee, it sounds like, well, okay, I don't count because I'm not I'm not
Yeah.
on anything. That's not true. Anybody is welcome to join on the Zoom, and they usually get 15 or 20 people, so it's not really big.
But you're saying fallout. What is it going to be? Their neighbors aren't going to talk to them?
Oh, it's worse than that. I mean, it's like in your face. It all centers around. Well, the thing that I have been most challenged on is my views on women's health care rights.
Yeah.
The reality is,
you can
it's
say
still Southern Baptist land.
Yeah, you can say abortion here.
Well, it's all of it. I mean,
it is. Yes.
My daughter's only health care for years was through Planned Parenthood, and she never ever has been pregnant.
Huh?
That's the only way she got pap tests. It's the only way she got exams. I mean,
Planned Parenthood was around for over 100 years, and long before abortion was legal. And they
Right.
just provided women with health care
And they still
and
do.
birth control.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they only began doing abortions when abortion became legal.
Illegal, right. Well, and Margaret Sanger was the original one who went out there and tried to educate women on birth control.
Right.
And she was vilified.
Yeah, but look what she started.
I know.
Well, this is not a free country. If you can't say what you are, I mean, you got to be afraid of your neighbor. Then you're living in Hitler's Germany.
I know.
Just
Well, I'm
about.
not afraid. I'm not afraid.
I'm not. But if you're
my
saying
views,
that people are afraid to show that they're Democrats because of the fallout from their neighbors, the hell with their neighbors. I mean, this is not people that you want to be friends with anyway. But I'm just saying that you should have the right. The Republicans, they haven't got a problem saying that they're such a conservative club and they have their opinion. I don't understand.
That's because their odds are really good that their neighbors feel the same way they do.
Yeah. I'm always surprised when I'm talking with someone and they out themselves as liberal.
Yeah.
Oh, are you a Democrat too?
But you're right.
How did that happen?
I went to a Bill Maher show a couple of years ago, and I met a couple of people who from the community, and I said to them to their face, "I didn't know you were Democrats." Because of the Bill Maher show, that's why I went the other night. But he asked if there's anybody in the audience who's QAnon, and there were 2 people that said they were QAnon, and then he asked if there's any Republicans in the audience, and there were a couple sitting on the other side of me, but mostly everybody that goes there is Democrat. But he took care of everybody. He went after Biden, he went after Trump, he went after Green, he went after everybody. It was a good show.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, when I talked to John Kralevich, there are some all of the municipal elections are nonpartisan. So if you look at the mayor and the council people for Fort Mill, not Republicans, not Democrats. There are a few people who are progressive in running for town council in Rock Hill, and I said, well, maybe we could get some of those on the York County YCDP TV podcast. And they said, well, you can ask them, but they are not seeking the York County Democratic Party's endorsement. Yeah, because that for them would be a kiss of death.
They don't need it.
Well,
it would.
It would
be a kiss of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty much the same thing of just appearing. I mean, we would have to disclaim all over the place that yeah, we're the party's YouTube show, but you're not here as a member of the party. You're just here to talk to people about your ideas, and maybe their neighbors and potential Republican voters would believe that, and maybe they wouldn't. So the odds are they're not going to show up on that kind of show.
Yeah.
We just have to realize that, they'll show up on WRHI. but probably not here. You know, you got to be I don't care because I ain't going to get elected anyway type Democrat to show up in our internal political zones.
Yeah.
And,
it's a sad country. That's all I can say. It's a sad.
Well,
it's sad.
Surely there's hope. Surely there's hope. When we moved to Concord, North Carolina in '94, okay, people got, a person in particular got in our face and told us, "You're nobody. The good old boys run everything, and they always will." Within 10 years, as more and more people moved there from other areas, it changed, okay? And he had a major heart attack and died at 52. You know, God is good.
Yeah. That is good. A lot of people should go walk with God. I'd like
except
to see
me.
this country.
You
the good people should not. The ones that are trying to anyway. It would be nice if this was what the Constitution says. It's a free country, but it's not. It's free only if you believe in what they believe, and that's not right. So,
it's the way it's always been, Shirley.
Yeah. What they say, freedom is not free. You have to fight for it.
We need to get rid of the electoral college. That's what we got to get rid of.
Unfortunately, that's in the Constitution, and it takes an amendment to get rid of it.
Yeah, that it's not going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, if we get a Democratic Congress, we can.
It takes more than that to change the Constitution.
To change the Constitution
didn't they make some changes? They did make some changes.
It requires 3/4 of the state legislatures to approve it.
Yeah,
that's why the ERA never passed.
Yeah, although now they just got enough for the ERA, and they need whoever figures out that enough states have ratified it now. Some states have tried to back out, and they're not letting them back out. And there was something in not the legislation itself, but the preamble to it that said that the time would expire. So they're fighting those things. Don't know if it will ever succeed, but if we get to the point where the whoever says, okay, this is now part of the Constitution, I'm not sure how that happens. My civics isn't quite good enough to tell me how that happens, but if it could happen, that's our new amendment. We haven't amended the Constitution in a long time. It's going to be really hard to do. But
it always has been.
The purpose for this
look how long it took women to get the vote.
Yeah. The purpose for this group and the other media that I'm doing for the county party, the whole idea is to feel more comfortable that you're not all alone. That 35 to 40% of South Carolina is Democrat, progressive, not Republican. That's a significant amount. It's almost never enough to win elections, except in some very concentrated blue areas. But it is plenty to say we're not alone and we can speak.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here for. All right, you guys, I got to go away.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. And
Bye.
if you're watching this on YouTube later on, come visit us in person next month in September. And I'll try to get some notices out a little bit earlier. Okay.
When are you going to do it in September? I'm going to be in New York the week of the 17th, I think.
What are we? What is this? Third Tuesday? 1, 2, 3. Fourth Tuesday. There's actually going to be 5 Tuesdays in August, but we are the 4th Tuesday. So whatever that works out to be in
September.
September.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be back by then.
26th.
All right.
Yeah, September 26th.
Okay.
I'm going to be out west riding a train.
Have fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
At least you're not hiking.
Oh, I do that every chance I get down in Ann Springs, but not when it's 95 degrees and 95% humidity. As soon as we cool off a little bit, another 5-10 miles a day.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Be well.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Push the end meeting button. Can't figure out what button it did. Oh, I see. Some other window came up here and got me confused. All right, that's it. This has been the Carolina Orchards. I do so much media. Carolina Orchards, Americans for Democracy and Equality, our August 2023 meeting. I'm Gary Pierce. See everybody in September, except I'll dial in if I can, but I'll be with a bunch of people and it may be hard to dial in. So see you then. Over and out.